This is Peterbot, the best Fortnite player in the world, and along with that, the most accused cheater of all time.
What?
Wait, did I say
Peter!
Wait.
You are making it obvious!
This isn't one of those the story of Peterbot videos, so I won't be going through his entire background, but all you need to know is he would do stuff like this a lot.
Oh my god,
That is not normal, and this abnormal behavior led to a lot of accusations, especially since he never performed well at LANs where cheating would be impossible. But he managed to put all these accusations to rest with his dominant global championship win in 2024. So if I don't think Peterbot is cheating, why is the video titled How Peterbot Cheated to Win FNCS? Well, while he may not have used external softwares like aimbot or ESP, there were multiple instances where Peterbot's team used some questionable strategies to manipulate the competition, causing for a lot of drama and ultimately one of the best finishes to a grand finals of all time.
Did they drop? Are they gliders? Wait! Yes they are! Yes they are! Oh my fucking god!
oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
They lost off spawn in the biggest game of the season.
How does he never choke?
I chopped him, I'm going up, 190. 81, on me.
Zoe has to win as a solo, otherwise Pete wins FNCS!
Nice!
Your major three champions, Peterbot, Ritual, Cold.
But if I'm gonna tell this story properly, I need to take you all the way back to the beginning of their season at
Hold my hand until you turn to ashes. Love me till they put me in my casket.
Demon's Domain is the best drop spot on the map. With a mythic assault rifle and medallion that grants shield over time, it was no secret whoever locked this drop down would be the favorite to win FNCS. And who better to fight for this than Peterbot and his ex-duo Poyo. Both teams have already won an FNCS, with Poyo's trio taking the win in Major 1 and Peterbot's team coming off a close call in Major 2. It felt like everybody was tuning in to keep scores and see who was winning the spawn fight overall. And while this made for some funny clips and some good drama, this is where the first wave of cheating accusations took place. But not against Peterbot. No. He would be accusing Poyo of cheating. Guess who got the gun? On the surface, 5 harmless words of Peterbot coping about losing off spawn, but this would quickly evolve into something more serious. Peter was accusing Poyo of macroing, which can simply be defined as automating repetitive tasks in a software or game using scripts to perform a series of actions with a single command. But if that was too many words for you, I'll make it simple. Pete is saying when Poyo would press his pickup key, it would trigger that action hundreds of times, making it near impossible for Peterbot to ever get the gun unless he himself was macroing. These are some serious allegations, and Poyo could have avoided all of them if he just used Hone. The only way to be the macro is by having lower ping and input delay, and pro players know this. I mean, just listen to Ritual.
It doesn't matter what you have. If you're 0 ping and they're higher ping than you, then like none of that matters.
What they don't know is Hone erases input delay. Just download the app from the Epic Game Store and select their Fortnite preset to get instant results. Before I switched to Hone, I couldn't get stable FPS at all, but now I'm feeling little to no delay, and it's reflecting in my recent cash cup placements. Their boost up tab offers a bunch of quick and easy optimizations to improve your performance and monitors them over time to tell you what's optimized, what needs attention, and what's degrading so you can boost it again. My personal favorite is their premium feature. You can just click a category like FPS and latency or network and ping, then with just the press of a button, the optimization is activated. Don't like it? Simply press deactivate and everything goes back to normal. I can go on and on about how you can make different presets for different games, but I'd rather tell you about their new game mode tool. This not only improves your frame rate by managing your CPU's resources, but it also frees up and manages your resources while you're playing. The mode only goes active when you're gaming, so it won't interrupt your regular everyday activity like doing homework or watching streams. And I can keep going, but the best thing you can do is download Hone now using the link in the description or the pinned comment and join me and over 1 million others in a smooth gaming experience. Wait, weren't we supposed to be talking about macros? The unfortunate truth is that pro players use macros. They've been caught on stream using them. They've admitted to using them.
Chat, when I played keyboard for about a month or so, I had that shit on me, chat.
And recently, a pro player got caught using one at LAN and wasn't even disqualified. So since Epic Games refuses to do anything about this, Peterbot was simply gonna have to deal with it. But he had a way bigger problem, and I promise you, this all ties into the cheating. To win FNCS, you need to make about 11 in-game, and at Demon's Domain, that would be impossible to do while contested. Demon's Domain is a 50-50. There are some strategies to it, but for the most part, whoever has the better drop or the stronger macro will win the chest every single time. Both teams were landing here to give themselves the best shot at winning, but it was becoming clear that neither of them would if they continued to contest each other. And this was made even more obvious by the first week of Division Cup Finals. Peterbot and Pollo ended up going an even 3-3 on the day, with Pete's team placing 7th and Pollo's falling slightly behind in 9th. A depressing finish for both teams, but not for the reason you think. There were only 2 Division Cups this season, for some reason. So if one team wanted the other to leave, they only had one more chance to show that they were by far the better off-spawn team. Meaning this finals, everyone had their eyes on bro, why can't I say?
Yeah, gang. Till I ain't in the mood. I don't want your pussy, I'm cool.
Pollo's trio dominated this whole event, taking 5 wins off spawn and winning the entire tournament by almost 100 points. This was an embarrassing loss for Peterbot, yet somehow we all knew this would happen because there was a problem with Peterbot's teammates, and I'll let him tell you about it.
They never play the game.
Why? I'm so confused. Why?
When they get on, Cold gets on for 2 off spawns and gets off. It's like next year, like I just can't wait for him to have to play with Acorn and be miserable again for a whole year.
While it may seem like Pete just complaining, this moment definitely took a hit on their chemistry, but practicing didn't make it much better because when they tried to practice, it would just go like this.
You guys don't know how to drop, bro.
How are you getting shit on for the gun, man?
You guys are dropping for shit.
Oh my god.
Damn, y'all just suck dick, bro. Like anywhere y'all land.
Alright, are you done?
FNCS was in 2 weeks and Peterbot's team was in shambles because they were faced with a decision that might change the course of their entire season. If they leave the POI, this is a major hit on the fear factor they impose on other players, and there's no guarantee that they can learn to drop well enough to win FNCS in 2 weeks. And even if they could, they might still end up being contested, which would defeat the purpose in leaving in the first place. But on the other hand, if they stay and contest Pollo, they were guaranteed a bad performance because of how bad the all-spawn was for them. This left Peterbot with a tough choice, but luckily, Fortnite themselves would bail him out. Fortnite released a teaser for the live event happening the day of Grand Finals, but not long later, the full trailer would be leaked and it was disastrous. Demon's Domain was getting destroyed, leaving both Peterbot and Pollo without a drop spot. And while this may seem like the worst news ever, this was great news for Peterbot. The entire reason Pete doesn't want to leave Demons is his reputation. He's known to be unbeatable off spawn, even beating some of the best pros at their own POI. But this time, he was getting destroyed, and leaving would send the message: not only can you beat Peterbot, but if you do, he'll leave you uncontested. This is a terrible rep to have because the very next season is the Global Championships, where regardless of your accomplishments, any team will contest you if they think they can beat you, especially if you have a reputation of leaving POIs. But you can't leave a POI that's already been destroyed. This was the perfect excuse for Peterbot to get out, so he made it official, stating he'd go brutal boxcars in Grand Finals, but would still be going Demons for the heats tomorrow. Wait, heats are tomorrow? FNCS heats were the very next day, and Peterbot still had a couple other problems that I haven't even mentioned yet, but he's not worried about them because little did we know, he'd just be cheating to get around them. Heat 3 was stacked. Everyone from global champions to rising stars would be fighting for a top 10 and a spot in the grand finals. But even with the stacked lobby list, Peterbot only had his eyes on one team: Dukes, Edgy, and Chance. They've been landing brutal boxcars all season, and if he could stop them from qualifying, he would be uncontested in grand finals. And although this is fine on paper, his methods of doing this led people to question whether or not he was playing playing fair. Also, this is Bob and he'll be with us for the rest of the video. Game 1 started as you would expect, uncontested Demon's Domain, but a few zones later we would get something we didn't expect.
Adding up those points here, so they're off to a good start. And if this clash, some heavy hitters here in the lobby. Edgy, Chance, they're set up on the outskirts. Peterbot going toe-to-toe with Chance on the wall there. Chance forced to back up for a second now. Got to put some respect on it. Great tag onto Duke there behind the wall, and Peterbot already kind of demanding respect here as he's walking his way through the space.
Peterbot was going after Edgy early, and while we may not have seen this coming, it makes perfect sense. There are 2 ways to qualify for grand finals. If you win a game, you're granted 1,000 points, securing your spot in the top 10. If not, you'd have to finish top 5 in consistency, just like a normal cash cup. So if Peterbot wants to stop Edgy from qualing, he needs to play all 5 games and take them down early, which is exactly what happens in game 1.
More than just the loot, more than just the loadout. Because once they get to S+, that's just their final form, but Ritual is going to be the first one knocked. That's an opening there. Cold's there trying to alleviate the pressure. He gets not just one, but 2 different knocks right back. Chance goes down. Peterbot making sure to alleviate the pressure.
With Edgy out of the way, Peterbot would just have to gain as many points as possible so he could make the questionable plays that we'll be looking at in just a second. But for now, Peterbot still has a game to finish.
Dominate the mid-level. They dominate the high ground. They're just proving there's other aspects to their game, but disaster strikes. Ritual and Cold won't go down. Peterbot's now being put to the test. 1 elimination, 2. He's getting multiple knocks here, and another one on Avir as the elimination cleans up. 146, and remember, he still has the medallion, and he goes in for more.
Yeah, no, this just about sums it up. He's just doing some Peterbot shit. But after that game, he's at almost triple the points of 10th place, and in game 2, he'd be using that to his advantage. Edgy made some adjustments to his game plan, quickly leaving brutal boxcars and going west. He manages to pick up a few kills before going even farther west, putting himself on the complete opposite side of the map from Peterbot. At first glance, it seemed to be working. Peterbot went east and picked up a few kills of his own, but with the zone pulling west, it was only a matter of time before we saw them fight.
The first teams that were already there will join that 4-team battle royal in a few moments, but Peterbot, Cold, Ritual seem to be fighting against Edgy, Chance, and their trio yet again. Even though they're 1,300 damage above the threshold, 3 eliminations, it's about making sure to push every team off of every position that they want.
Peterbot was taking a new approach, playing much slower even when threatened by the storm, which was about to do 2 damage per second as soon as this zone closed. But there was a good reason for this. Peter, Cold, and Ritual don't need these points, but Edgy's trio needs them badly. So the longer the fight goes on, the more resources they would have to use and the lower chances they would have of winning. And that's exactly what happened. They sit here until storm closes and both teams are just eating the damage, but eventually Edgy manages to get away safely. A small victory for Peterbot, but this came with a whole new problem. Fortnite in-games are extremely volatile. With the zones only getting smaller and moving faster, it would be impossible to track Edgy's trio if they lived much longer. Pete needed to kill them now to make sure they don't win the game and qualify for grands, but instead this happened.
City, they're deep in the storm, but give it a second. Peterbot's going to go ahead and fall to the hands of Chance. Like we talked about, these teams have been going back and forth here. It looks like it's a 2v2, so it's Cold and Ritual setting this one off here. Chance loses all shield. Edgy forced to play defense here, but no shots landing just yet.
This is bad. Peterbot goes down early. Cold and Ritual do their best to grief, but end up going down to storm. Better than dying to Edgy, but not good enough. Their entire season was now in the hands of Dukes, Edgy, and Chance.
Yeah, but look at the elims just adding up right now for Edgy, Duke, and Chance. My gosh, they are putting up some numbers here.
Is them, especially not be as looted up as they are. Chance with his 5 eliminations, 11 overall for this entire team, but up above, think that was Chris that finds a good shot on the one, forcing them to disperse into different directions, and that might have been it, because now Edgy's going down. Curly's the one that caught him off guard. Chance still trying to take fire from all angles, forward to the ultimate low ground. No mobility, no materials, and no chance at survival as they get taken down.
They finished 9th. Peterbot got lucky, but he couldn't afford to leave this up to luck. So in game 3, he was getting aggressive. Edgy made a similar play to the game prior, this time going east instead of west. But Peterbot made it clear that this time was different, towering over Edgy's trio and forcing them to either burn all their resources or take another storm fight. They choose to fight.
He's actually going up. He said, you know what? You want to fight? Let's have it. Goes for the challenge. Chance is there as well. Peterbot closes off on the other distance. He has the medallion, so he's moving just a little bit more fast, a little bit quicker overall, but he gets dropped down. There goes that exotic in action. This is where they have a little bit of a 3v2 if they do want to take it, but Cold has been lurking around.
Peterbot takes the same approach, playing it super slow and letting Edgy run himself out of materials. But he wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. This time, he's not letting them leave.
Pay attention, shots coming in from the bush too, so big storylines unfolding everywhere, but give it a second. Peterbot back in the action now. Big tag here. Duke super lit up right now. Cold tracking with that shotgun through the wall. Playing excellent right there. Peterbot with the box up, jumps around, puts Edgy down before he can even react there, and this is all starting to unfold now. Chance the only healthy one here.
Well, he's the only one at all now with his teammate going down. There goes the pull wide, 3 straight eliminations, and
Peter had taken them down again, and a good game here could secure their qualification to the grand finals. But their qual was the last thing on our minds. Instead, everyone was left wondering, how is Peterbot finding Edgy so consistently? Peterbot had been cheating this entire tournament, and there are 4 extremely obvious signs that he was doing so, but in order to understand those, you have to know how he was cheating in the first place. Stream sniping is defined as the act of watching a streamer's live broadcast to gain unfair information such as location or inventory. This method of cheating is usually extremely obvious, but in Peterbot's case, it might be a little bit harder to spot. So let's break it down. I am so sorry. Peterbot plays every tournament in a Discord call consisting of his teammates, their coach Raz, and Raz's clients. And with Fortnite themselves streaming the event, this creates the perfect setup. Peterbot never needs to see the stream, he never needs to hear the audio, he never needs to tab out. All of that can be handled by someone else. All Peterbot needs to do is receive the information and execute the plan. So what information does he actually need? The skins and location of Edgy's trio. And in a group call with 4 or more people, this information could be relayed very quickly. According to the Fortnite official rulebook, any use of outside information during a tournament is strictly prohibited. The only exception to this is the use of the in-game replay tool, a system where you can watch live tournament matches on a 9-minute delay, which is significantly slower than the 5-minute delay of the official Fortnite broadcast, which presents a new question. How do we know Peterbot was stream sniping and not using the in-game replay system? And to answer that, we'll have to look at sign number 1, their kill count. Peterbot, Ritual, and Cole are unarguably the most aggressive trio in North America, averaging 16 kills every time they made it to in-game and finals this season. But every time they've encountered Edgy's trio today, they've had 0 kills. It's normal to want to play a bit more passive in such a serious tournament, or at least it would be if I didn't lie to you earlier. This Heats lobby is stacked, but only the top teams were actually good. In fact, 54 of the 99 players qualified have never made a grand finals. But it gets worse. FNCS Heats are the top 99 teams split into 3 groups. So on average, the teams Peter would be running into would be worse than those he'd encounter in the Cash Cup finals where he was dropping high kill games. This is a clear sign of targeting, but it's not concrete evidence of stream sniping. So we're gonna have to move on to sign number 2, their pathings and timings. If we look on Osirian.gg, we can see the exact pathing of Peterbot's trio, then compare that to what was shown on the broadcast. Peter's trio starts every game the same way. They land at Demon's Domain. This gives them one of 2 medallions in the game for the small cost of revealing their location on the map for everyone to see. This is important because when the second zone is revealed, the loot island spawns, and killing the boss core will grant them the Shrouded Striker medallion, the last medallion in the game, and trust me, this will be important later. This medallion gives the user a speed boost and invisibility while sprint jumping, and this is what they've been using to hunt Edgy down, so as you may imagine, they play for it every single game. Since their location is revealed from the first medallion they picked up, nobody even tries to contest them for the island because no one wants to willingly fight Peterbot and Cold at the same time. I mean, Ritual was there too, but come on. This is where it gets complicated, so stay with me. Game 1 was simple. Dukes, Edgy, and Chance clearly weren't ready for an early push from Peterbot, but games 2 and 3 tell a different story. In game 2, as we established earlier, Edgy put himself on the opposite side of the map from Peterbot, an easy task considering his location is revealed by the medallion. So if Edgy knows where Peterbot is at all times, how is Peter still finding him? And to answer that, we'll have to look at the data, starting with Edgy was shown going west by the broadcast at exactly 6 minutes and 45 seconds into the game. This means at 11 minutes 45 seconds, Peter would know Edgy's exact location, but only if he was stream sniping. If not, it would take him until 15:45 to receive this information. So what actually happened? Well, around the 12-minute mark, Peter's making his way into Brutal Boxcars, conveniently right as Edgy is shown on broadcast. He gets into a fight which he's able to win very quickly, but once this fight finishes, he immediately makes his way to Lone Wolf Lair, exactly where Edgy was fighting earlier. He seems to look around the fight for a little bit before moving west. Many teams are around this area, some are even fighting, but for some reason, they seem to take a quick look and decide it's not worth their time before running into Edgy's trio not even a minute later and committing to a storm fight out of zone. At this point in the in-game replays, Edgy's Lone Wolf fight hasn't even taken place yet. Weird to say the least, but one game is a small sample size. Maybe game 3 is a little bit less suspicious. Once again, let's fast forward to what happens after Loot Island has been captured. Peterbot spends most of his game doing what I like to call skin shopping, running around the map, seemingly just browsing the skins and locations of different teams without committing to any fights. At this point, the live replay is publicly available, so Peterbot likely knows what skins Edgy's trio is wearing, but not their location. Since Edgy's first and only appearance on the broadcast was at 7 minutes 41 seconds, they would have to wait until 12 minutes 41 seconds to see where he was through the official broadcast. And to nobody's surprise, when this information became available, they immediately fly to Edgy's last known location, some random island on the edge of the map, and start shooting every bush on the island. They managed to find him 15 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, almost a full 2 minutes before Edgy would be shown going to this island in the in-game replays. That alone is extremely sus, but sign number 3 makes it even worse. Take a look at the 2 fights on your screen right now. Do you notice what they share in common? I'll tell you, these may be 2 of the worst fights Peterbot could have possibly taken in either situation. They make sense to us because we know the context, but let's remove context entirely. Assuming Peterbot's playing normally with no outside information to support him, why would he commit to 2 storm fights and drag them both out? He had been playing mostly passive until now, so why wait so late into the game to take a risky play? The only logical reason would be Storm Surge. With them not taking fights early in the game, you might be able to assume they need more damage to avoid dying. But when we look at game 2, that's clearly not the case. Game 3 was a bit closer, but even then, why not put this same effort into fighting for a power position on the map? One like the Shining Span Bridge, where they just recently made the team holding it run in fear before going to the edge of the map to commit to a random storm fight. Yet somehow, when we add context, this becomes more confusing. If Peter's trio is playing legitimately, they should have no idea who it is that they're fighting. They could know Edgy's skin through replays, but he's wearing the Echo skin, a very popular skin amongst Fortnite competitive players. It's almost certain they aren't the only trio in the lobby wearing this. So all we know for sure is that they're committing to terrible fights late into the game with little to no opening damage every time. And oddly enough, the only game they didn't do this is in game 1, where they took Edgy out early. But this all makes sense when we look at side number 4. So far, we know that Peterbot was playing suspiciously passive, skin shopping around the map until deciding to take one risky fight. Through Through some interesting pathing, this fight has been on the Edgy's trio every single time, and Peterbot's commitment to these fights seems to tell us that he's well aware of what he's doing. But what if we're wrong? Peterbot isn't even that type of player. He would never do something like that, is what I would say if he didn't admit he would do this not even 24 hours earlier. Remember how I said FNCS Heats is the top 99 teams split into 3 groups? Well, Peter was in group 3. Group 2 played yesterday, and Clicks found himself in a similar situation, keying Muzz to prevent him from qualifying the grand finals, all to control another type of cheating, surge trading. I won't go into much detail because there are many videos about this issue, but in chapter 6, every corner of the map looked like this. Large bases designed to trade damage with other teams without killing them. Doing this for long enough meant you could completely bypass the storm surge mechanic, which would kill you if you hadn't done enough damage. The strategy itself wasn't cheating though. In fact, it got its own section of the grand finals broadcast. However, behind the scenes, players would make agreements around the strategy, which was obviously prohibited by the rules. And unfortunately for Clicks, he was given the short end of the stick when it came to surge trading this season, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. Similarly to Peterbot, he too qualified early, intentionally not winning games so he could play the entire tournament. And in game 5, the last game, if Clicks could take out Muzz, there was a good chance he could take a surge trading partner as well. Knowing this, streamers were locked into Clicks' gameplay, and during a Faxity watch party, the pro players in his call realized something interesting. His coach BloodX was in replays, his Discord audio was muted on stream, and his eyes kept wandering over to a second monitor. We all knew what was going on, but completely unprovoked, Peterbot came to his defense.
Yeah, but they don't need to do it though.
No, I'm doing this is literally, bro. You guys do realize that like this is the smartest thing they could do, right? Like it's weird, but it's the smartest thing they could do. I would do the exact same thing. I would chase Muzz down as a solo across the map to kill them in this last game.
This is all the evidence we needed to conclude that Peterbot had been cheating this entire tournament. And sure enough, everybody was catching on. The casters knew.
I'm just thinking in my head, surprise, surprise. Chance Duke and Edgy have their work cut out for them this weekend. If they want to get to finals, they're gonna have to work for it.
The streamers knew.
Why is Pete happen to be checking this island? Pete just had a really good feeling that maybe Edgy might be somewhere around this island. That's interesting. It's a pretty normal rotate to go from Demon's Domain to Shining Span Island and shoot bushes, huh?
But most importantly, Edgy's trio knew.
For every time we get seen on stream, they just go that direction. I know, Dukes. The broadcast 4-minute delay is what actually cooking you here. I'm gonna be so honest.
But now that Edgy knows Peterbot's strategy, he can use it against him in game 4. It was obvious Peterbot was using Fortnite's broadcast against him. And while you may think Edgy has no control over this, you'd be wrong. Because even though it's true that he can't control what's being shown on the broadcast, he can control his actions and make the broadcast not want to show him. Let me explain. The competitive broadcast only shows the most interesting action happening in the game. If a player isn't fighting, capturing a mid-game objective, or making any sort of play, the odds of them being shown on broadcast is next to 0. This way they can keep the audience entertained and keep people watching. So Edgy came up with a genius plan. He was just gonna sit in the bush. Wait, there was a real strategy here. Remember how I said Peterbot's team is getting both medallions every single game? Well, since Peterbot's the star player, they give them both to him. As I mentioned earlier, having a medallion reveals your location on the map. But what I didn't tell you is that when you have 2, your location's radius shrinks significantly. This means at any point in the game, as long as Peterbot had both medallions, Edgy can pinpoint exactly where he is on the map. And since Peterbot was already hunting him, that means all they had to do was wait, and Peterbot would bring himself into the trap. And sure enough, when the broadcast tuned in, that's exactly what happened.
Card back, and that means staying alive. And yes, I did see this in the feed. Peterbot is already down and out. Edgy was able to clean up that elimination. They work together. They get cold as well. The pressure is on Ritual to try to survive. He's in a 1v3 situation. Use the misform, trying to reposition down below. But Edgy's quick on the chase, and they have the Superman sprite. They're gonna melt through these builds, not giving Ritual any time to heal in this situation. His chances there. The bait and switch. They're making sure to keep constant pressure, not even give him a single second to pop the mini. And as soon as he pops the Miss Smoke, he can't even utilize it.
Ritual put up a good fight, but eventually he goes down as well. Peterbot became a victim to a war that he started and would now have to watch hopelessly while Edgy plays for the win, which I would love to show you, but they didn't appear on the broadcast at all this in-game until they die in 7th place. So in game 5, the goals for each team are simple. Edgy needs a top 2 to qualify the Grands, and Peterbot needs to stop him. Game 5 was different. Now that Edgy knows exactly what's going on, they managed to avoid Peterbot the entire game, and for the first time in this tournament, both teams make it to the end game. But that's when Edgy learns an important lesson. Nobody runs from Peterbot.
Yeah, 190 surely has to be enough, but you never know until it's all said and done. Oh no, look at this. Chance ends up falling, so I wasn't sure if they actually had Dukes alive. Edgy jumps in the box, tries to actually fight him, and Aaron comes out of nowhere, but Edgy was quick enough to react there, and Peterbot once again somehow finds his mark when it matters most. Now, Edgy being hunted here, the dash comes through, looks to try to catch him up, but shots come in and Peterbot's caught off on the outskirts, but look at this.
Cold gets knocked at the back of zone. Dukes and Edgy get away, but now they have to pull off a miracle as a duo, and it didn't take us long to realize that wasn't gonna happen. Peterbot won the battle, but the war is not over. The last chance qualifier. 3 games with the winner of each going straight to grand finals. One last chance for Edgy to do the impossible, but this time it's different. You see, you can only compete in this tournament if you hadn't already qualified the grand finals. And since Peterbot just qualified, there's nothing he can do to stop Edgy, right? Well, just because he can't play doesn't mean he can't coach. And if the team he's coaching just happens to contest Edgy at brutal boxcars and run away with half the loot, well, that's just a coincidence. This strategy works for 2 games, but in game 3, Edgy is in the end game. And I would let the clip just play for you, but he's scary. So instead, I'll just give you a speed summary of everything that happened. Edgy's looking stacked, but the zone pulls over a hill and he's underground in the basement, so he's cooked. But he runs through a team and gets a major refresh, then the zone pulls back, so it's looking good. But because he's in the basement, he has to take Storm, so he's cooked. But then Dukes becomes Batman and takes one out, so it's looking good. And then we see that the height team has more heal off, so it's looking cooked, and they get second place, sending this team the Grands, which will be very important later in the story. But first, let's talk about the effects of what just happened. Peterbot did it. He successfully cheated his way into an uncontested drought spot, and in the process, he also sent 2 of the best players of all time into retirement. This is truly one of the worst ways for such legendary careers to come to an end, and of course, this came with its fair share of drama. But since this video is already getting long, I'll do another speed summary of everything that happened between now and grand finals. Edgy and Dukes immediately announced their retirement, but they were so mad they offered free coaching and money to whoever was willing to contest Peterbot in grand finals. Nobody took them up on the offer, but this could have been crazy if it actually happened. Allegations came out about Peterbot helping this team who qualified from LCQ. Not only did this end up griefing Edgy, but this also helped them win grand finals later in the video. Peterbot and Poyo got into some drama when Poyo's ex-duo Zio started threatening to boot Peterbot offline during grand. Although this also never actually happened, and according to Poyo, Zio also tried to blackmail him too, just to get money from the both of them. Now it was time for grand finals. After everything Peterbot had done to get here, this was supposed to be the tournament where it all paid off and worked out in his favor. But when the games actually started, he wasn't winning. In fact, he wasn't even in the conversation of winning. Nobody was thinking about Peterbot at all, because after game 2, everybody's attention was on.
Yeah, hey, let go. I'll tell her ass. I say.
Acorn, Aegis, and Poyo were dominating this tournament. Aegis was dropping kills. Poyo was dropping kills. Acorn was IGLing. Everyone was looking forward to how far they could push it. Was Poyo gonna get another 1,000-point grands? Could Acorn beat Queasy 6 out of 12? Absolutely not, because in game 3, Peterbot had a surprise for Acorn's trio. You remember this trio, right? The one that crushed Edgy's hopes and dreams? The one that allegedly Peterbot has been helping out? Well, there's just one small detail about them that I've been keeping from you. Wait, I want to preface this by saying that these are all allegations and there is no concrete evidence of this actually happening. happening. I'm simply reporting on what pro players have said and what was believed to be true at the time. This trio lands Demon's Domain. It's where they've been landing all season, and it's where they landed to qualify for grand finals, managing to win 3 of the 3 games all spawn. Peterbot has been helping this team with their spawn fighting in hopes that if they manage to qualify the grand finals, they would contest Poyo, who at the time was Peterbot's biggest threat. This didn't happen though. Cyrus, Naps, and Zaire thought they'd be better off at another drop spot, but it was becoming obvious that this wasn't working out the way they had hoped. So in game 3, they were going back to their roots, and what happened next caught everybody off guard.
Other side though, someone has now officially decided to show up and contest. We thought they might have been showing up before, but seems like they were saving that play for a little later into the tournament, and how much of a lead they had. Agerso puts up a fight, but already now 2 sides are down. It's a 2v1 here for Acorn. Acorn hit up as well. He tries to slip out the side. Memphis comes down. He gets a little bit of a tick there for some HP, but he's got no builds to work with. This is not looking good, Jacob. Oh my gosh.
Zaire managed to embarrass Poyo's entire trio, but we'll get back to this a little bit later. Right now, Peterbot has the opportunity to take first place, an opportunity that he'd end up absolutely blowing, because after ending up on the wrong side of a lobby spray, Peterbot and Ritual go down early, and despite a good effort from Cold, he only managed to get 12th place, putting them 3rd on the leaderboard. An amazing spot to be in, but not for Peterbot. He wanted to win, so in game 4, he'd be taking his antics to a whole new level. But first, let's talk a little bit more about this trio. Almost immediately after winning their spawn fight, their POI looks less like Fortnite and a lot more like Call of Duty Zombies. They simply didn't have the same respect from the lobby that Poyo's trio had, and as a result, they'd go down early and Demon's Domain became an all-out battleground. Landing Demons wasn't gonna work going forward, so in the next game, they went back to their old drop of Cease Mountain. This may seem unimportant, but remember, everyone believed Peterbot's team had something to do with this trio's actions, and the team they've been landing on, Aoxy, Pikes, and Jojo, is the same team that Poyo's been trading with all season. This seemed to be yet another instance of Peterbot going out of his way to grief Poyo, and after the tournament, Acorn admitted that this was really messing with him on day 1. But nothing would mess with him more than what was to come next. Earlier in the video, Edgy was able to use Peterbot's game plan against him by lurking in his loot route and waiting for him to bring himself into the trap. Peterbot was about to do the same thing to Poyo, and they had no idea. Poyo's trio plays for this island every single time it spawns. Everyone in the lobby knows this, and no one even thinks to contest them for it. This is going on for so long that they don't expect anybody to be in this area while they're looting the island. In every game, Acorn will come down to loot these buildings all by himself. Since no one's ever there, it's never a problem. But Peterbot knows this, and he's about to use it against him in game 4. All they'd have to do is make it to these buildings early enough to not be seen. Then, once Poyo's team claims Loot Island, Acorn will come down here all by himself and die as a result. And when the broadcast tuned in, it was immediately obvious that someone on Poyo's trio was missing.
Dud. Meanwhile, we knew it was going to happen. Just give it a little bit of time. Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot seem to successfully ambush Acorn's trio.
They continue to accumulate that storm surge, focus on this one fight, and really distract and disrupt it as Poyo goes down next. They're able to steal away the medallion, the mythic Spire rifle, and now they have the choice. Do we chase Agers, get that 3rd elimination? And it does look like that answer is instantaneous. Cold wants a piece of that pie. Look at that.
It's going straight after it, Peterbot.
With Poyo's trio out of the way, Peterbot didn't have to take any more risks. All he had to do was play out a safe game, and he'd end up in first place. So that's exactly what he did.
Pretty early here. Peterbot not looking to take any contested battles at the moment. They just want to get to safety here for Peterbot. Cold and Ritual's team didn't have to misform their way off through the early game. They're able to really position themselves well. They are all well on their way to top 10 and 10 eliminations as well. Peterbot, Ritual, Cold, they'll start to make a big move here. Up for high ground they go. They get ever so closer. And this is them just kind of feeling the water. Easy here. Meanwhile, Cold's team is up for high ground. The island's coming into effect. Cold lands up top. Peterbot, Ritual have control of it.
and they already have that elimination cleaned up onto Kanata. They've overtaken it. Booga Threats and Craze are the ones trying to threaten underneath. Bolts Rapid, they're the only duo left in this game. Everybody else is trios, and they're flying around the front of the island. The full trio goes down, but they claim another one as the knocks continue to go through. Rise is trying to interrupt this play. Booga's scrambling around. He steals away the high ground. No builds left for Peterbot, but he's still ready to take that challenge. Down goes Cold. Up he goes, but down again. The teeter-totter of emotions as Peterbot gets cleaned up. Booga falls as well. Craze's trio is all out. It's G-Money. What does Ritual have on the other side? That's going to be the difference, but his med kit gets canceled. G-Money makes the play.
A second place was more than enough to take the #1 spot, and on the back of some Peterbot solo clutches, this lead would only grow throughout the rest of day 1, leaving them in first place to end the day. But none of this would matter if they couldn't perform on Guys, I have bad news. Peterbot isn't winning because in game 7, they had some surge problems causing them to go down in 15th. But you know who didn't go down?
Yeah, hey, Lil Joe, I'll tell her ass, I say.
Acorn, Agers, and Poyo dropped a 120-point game to take first place. Agers is playing out of his mind, second most kills on day 1, and he's clearly looking to take that #1 spot. Poyo proving he deserves to be in the GOAT debate. Acorn is still IGLing. They were clearly a threat, but they were only ahead by 10 points, so Peterbot didn't need to pull any stunts just yet. Game 8 was about consistency. When we tune into Peterbot for the first time this game, he's on alert, and after about a minute of waiting, they're able to catch Phaser off guard for their first elimination of the game in an uncontested loot island where they can get Surge. But only a few zones later, things go from looking good to looking terrible, because after a bad zone pull, Peterbot's forced to give up his high ground and is left with no material as a result. And even though they didn't die immediately, they'd go down shortly after in 8th place, leaving them in first? But how? Well, what I didn't mention is that just a couple zones earlier, Poyo's team was caught in the storm fight, and despite an insane 1v3 by who we can only call LeBron at this point, they'd still go down in 16th. But Peterbot wouldn't be so lucky in game 9, because with both teams in the endgame, he was gonna have to work a lot harder if he wanted to keep his first place.
Well above the damage threshold, so this is just all about consistency and endgame placements now, but Peterbot fighting his way through the make round. We know what that means. He's here to hunt. Cold dash into that box too. They were ready to I hate to say it, but someone's got to stop Agers, Poyo, and Acorn. If you don't, I mean, it's literally their show right now. Ritual's gonna fall here to their exact hands. The pressure coming up from top down is
right onto Peterbot. He's looking like they were trying to get aggressive, but that got cut short, burning through the materials. Now with an open opportunity, Scuffies is gonna be the name on that list that gets checked off. Peterbot gets the elimination. The Venmus smoke is down. He has some time here into the zone, but that also makes him a target. That green mist, it's like a beacon from a lighthouse. Agers, Acorn, and Poyo continue to put that pressure down from above.
Doing an excellent job into the box to support King now, but Cold is finding all the tags, and another one presents himself. There's the knock, and you wouldn't even tell he's in the storm because the siphon is feeding him.
I don't think he got the last few of those knocks, though. That means he's on the clock, has to make his way in. He did so much damage. He took down so many teams. Everybody else in this game, Monster, is a solo. I know what you're thinking. They already have 3 wins so far. Could a 4th be out of reach? Nah, it's definitely within their grasp, and they're dropping down to take it. Agers, Poyo, they know what position they're in. Ozone taking damage. He goes down to Cold. 2 solos left on that low ground, and Curve is next on that list.
Cold is just going. At this point, he's like, yeah, you guys might win the game, but I'm here to win the war. He's going at it, finding points. Finally, now he gets taken out of 3rd place. Poyo, Agers, and Acorn are on a run of a century. Curve may have gone to the top, but it's only a matter of time.
One singular point. That's all that separated Peterbot and Poyo on the leaderboard. And with the score being so close, neither team could afford to go out of their way to grief the other. But before Peterbot could get to Poyo, he had to go through clicks.
Only thing on their mind right now.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? That whole tweet about Peterbot's gonna fight everyone who wants to Spire. Well, guess what? We want the Spire. We're not good with just top 10. Clicks and team want to fight for more. You gotta respect him for trying to do so. Here it is. Clicks goes in, but Peterbot is smart and sharp.
They didn't take too much time to try to make this play happen, but you said it yourself, the tables have been turned from one well-placed shot out of Peterbot. He does it again. Down goes Iamzo from one side to the next, keeping everybody on their toes, and he continues to deal a huge amount of damage. Iamzo is going to be the next one hurt. Clicks is now by himself as a solo. 3 mean dogs staring him out, and they're ready to take a bite out of him, but he's fighting back. First shot's going to land, but it's not going to be enough.
Clicks, Iamzo, and Higgs are having the worst tournament of their careers respectively, and they decide to turn it around by keying f***ing Peterbot. Iamzo goes straight to Twitter saying he feels lost right now in this tournament, and Cold goes to tell him that he's right. Things are absolutely looking up for Peterbot. That is, until this happens.
Entire lobby can even fathom acquiring in a single tournament. This is just incredible stuff. But look at this highlight here as far as replays for Peterbot getting knocked.
Not long later, Ritual is left at the solo, and despite his best efforts, he didn't make it very far in this endgame. And with the gap between them and first place only growing, they knew what they had to do. So in game 11, they were hunting Poyo's trio. Poyo's trio knows what's coming, so they immediately start W King to their south to help pad their lead and stay far away from Peterbot. But since they're holding a medallion, Peterbot knows exactly where they are, so he does the exact same thing, hoping to catch them off guard. In the third zone of every game, one of these research bunkers will spawn. These bunkers not only provide extra loot, but they also provide a rift for rotation. And due to the hero rank mechanic, Poyo's team is one of the few in the lobby that can actually use these to their max potential. So when Peterbot sees them heading south, he knows exactly what they're doing. All he has to do is wait for them to hit the rift and then shoot them out the sky.
Uncontested. They use that rift. They're trying to get out. And that's what I was talking about with the lab. It might be hard to get in. Not as hard to get.
This failed miserably, and even worse, Poyo's trio now knows what's going on, so they drop the medallion, meaning their location is no longer revealed on the map, or at least it wasn't, until they noticed something. Ritual went down in the feed.
But look at this, they lost Ritual. What happened? Oh, the tides might be turning here.
Oh, the 3-2-1.
This is the best news for Poyo's team. Not only are they not being hunted, but one of their hunters is dead. This means they can safely pick up the medallion and continue playing the game out. But shortly after, Ritual is rebooted, and you think that this is where Peterbot claws his way back into the game. But with Poyo's team still getting aggressive on the other side of the map, their opportunity to close the point gap was slowly slipping away from them. So everyone assumed they were just gonna loop back up and get ready to play the end game. But that's when we see Peterbot goes down. Things are absolutely falling apart for Peterbot, but luckily they come up with a game plan that'll get them back in the game. Since both of his teammates just died, Cold is the only person on their team with the Mist Gauntlets. This item grants you invincibility when you use it and gives you the ability to fly as well. So he can use this to go for Peterbot's card and then safely fly away from anyone who may be camping it. While this is happening, Ritual will go to King and Crossing. That way, as soon as Peterbot's card is collected, he can start rebooting, and everything goes exactly the plan. But they have one problem. The team that eliminated Peterbot is now hunting Cold, and with his teammates in King and Crossing, Cold would have to do the impossible to keep this Grands run alive.
He is getting pushed by an entire trio. Cold is going to have to do Cold things here.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a tough spot to be in. But we've seen Cold already kind of playing in peak form, and you know what? I think he could do it again, but he's playing smart, taking his time here. It only takes one to be well out of place for him to go ahead and initiate something huge there, and that's a bad edit. He's gonna give away his spot. He's gonna call for backup, but he gets coned up. Look how huge there, and that's a bad edit.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my god.
Oh, they didn't know. They didn't know. Now they know. Oh, 115. Oh my god. Cold's so fucking good.
Oh shit. Oh, what piece? Oh shit.
But he gets coned up. Look how quickly he pieces him and finishes him off there. Look at that. Aaron's also lit up too, so. Oh no. Did you lit up too, so.
Oh my.
Oh no.
Oh my.
Did you forget Aaron's
I forgot I'm dealing with the best player of all.
Oh
I forgot. I forgot I'm dealing with the best player of all time. Cold.
Is here to just do what he does. Already working around the outskirts. Just a matter of time. Misform, baiting, buying more room, siphon to kick in, finishes off the teammates just because, and now here comes Ritual to back him up, and then they finish it off. My God.
Cold pulls off a miracle to keep this game alive, and after a kill and another refresh, this looked like the start of an insane comeback. But then...
Lobby starting to focus in on them. Outside rotate, Bryson team, Acorn and crew. Wow. Yikes.
They go down in 15th place, and with Acorn's team going on to get third, they're staring down a 90-point lead going into the last game, meaning if they wanted to win FNCS, they'd have to make the toughest decision they've ever made in their careers, or at least it would be if they hadn't been in this situation before, because in Major 1 they found themselves in this exact scenario, staring down a 60-point lead from Acorn, Agers, and Poyo. Despite being down so many points, they would decide to stick to their regular drop spot where they would end up contested. Since everyone thought Peter would land on Poyo, this team thought it was a good idea to take their drop spot, which in theory would have been uncontested. This caused a major slowdown in their gameplay, and as a result, they weren't able to hunt down Poyo in time. So even though they almost got a 20 bomb to end the tournament, they still came 3 kills short of the Grands win. So in game 12, with the tournament on the line, Peterbot had to land on Poyo.
Did they drop? Are they gliders?
Wait! Yes, they are! Yes, they are! Oh my fucking god!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! They lost off spawn in the biggest game of the season.
Poyo goes down, Cold goes down, LeBron pickaxed, and within a matter of seconds, Poyo's entire season was riding on Acorn.
I think something's gonna happen here that's gonna give away his position here, but it looks like the
Peterbot finally did it. After a season of losing off spawn at Demons, he lands there in the biggest game of the season and takes it down. But Poyo's team being eliminated doesn't mean Peterbot wins FNCS. Because if you've been paying close attention, you'd know that there's 2 other obstacles Peterbot has to get around before he can call himself the champion. Kanata has been playing amazing all tournament, and after a win in game 11, he's in 2nd place. If he's able to make it deep into the end game, it would be nearly impossible for Peterbot to catch up in points. So mission number 1 was simple: eliminate Kanata. But this would handle itself, because when Kanata realized he had a chance to win the entire tournament, he decided to get aggressive. But that's when this happened.
Going on their layer, and he's trying to just funnel them into one direction from the ground up this time around. Sees the footsteps, no scares towards the left, causers as well. Positions are not going to be hid, but they spot out Kanata. They land that first shot. Not going to be a game changer, but that one surely is.
My box running in. I'm dead, man. Fuck. You just hide behind me.
They managed to escape and reboot Kanata, but while this was happening, Peterbot gets a Spire spawn uncontested, leaving them absolutely stacked on heals and giving them the best gun in the game, the Shockwave pistol. This would absolutely change the course of the game for the entire lobby, but that's a topic for later. Right now, Kanata is still alive, but Peterbot has one more trick up his sleeve to win this grand finals. Earlier in the video, we talked about how Peterbot's trio, along with their coach Raz, were stream sniping Edgy to make sure he didn't qualify to grand finals. Well, what I never told you is that Raz also works with Rapid, Kanata's IGL, meaning he knew all of their game plans and could provide this information to Peterbot at any moment. With their land spot secured and knowing that something may go down in the last game, Kanata's trio wasn't screen sharing game 12 to Raz.
And we were like, yeah, I'm not even screen sharing for you, like, we're just done, we're just gonna play our own game.
Yeah. They fully stopped screen sharing and everything, and then just said like, we're going at it last game.
Meaning this game, Raz was working with Peterbot, and we can clearly hear this in Cold's Grands video in game 12.
You can only get crashed out on by Birdsy, okay? This is the only thing.
If that wasn't enough, he also said it himself later that day on stream.
I was screaming so loud, Raz was screaming at me to shut up and just like get the bot and like careful for third parties.
You got it wrong. I screamed for 10 seconds as well, and then I reminded you to shut up.
And with Kanata making multiple stream appearances, we could reasonably assume that Peterbot was at it again. But Kanata had bigger issues. Since they died early in the game, they don't have storm surge damage, meaning if they don't do a lot of damage right now, they would die as a result and their tournament is over. So before he could fight for first place, Kanata had to fight for surge.
So much, it's not exactly the change they were looking at. 284 below. They're falling further and further. This is the recipe for Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual success, but it's not going to come without a fight. Kanata makes his way in. He gets the knock onto one, but he immediately goes down, and they're not even above the damage threshold. Another one's going to fall. Rapid is out. It's all up to both by himself, and it's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. They're the ones shooting on over, and they get eliminated. Now this is just a one-horse race.
Kanata goes down, but the job is still not finished for Peterbot, because if he wanted to win grand finals, he needed to finish this game with a 7-kill win. A difficult task considering he hasn't won a game this entire tournament. So mission number 2 was obvious. Win the game with 7 kills.
This is very good for them right now. That's going to keep them competitive here. Ritual's going to play for the front side now. Peterbot's starting to work his way down. They're starting to gas out of material. They need a refresher yesterday. This is starting to slow down for them. Now notice Peterbot is reloading to force the shockwave damage shots off of these teams here. Wait a second, Peterbot just hit himself back into the storm on accident. They're running low on material. This is the first time in a long time we've seen them not earn any points this late into an end game. They might not have enough. They need to win the game and get a single elim or get a lot of elims.
On our bills, go, right. I'm chopping. Chopping.
King, PA, Jin, and Phaser take the high ground. Iamso is going up to give us a win for a finish as well.
I chopped them. I'm going on this.
High ground said, nah. You can hold it for now. Keep my Seymour, because the king is coming back to take his throne. This team doesn't want to take part in just another FNCS monster. They want to take over this FNCS. Prove a point. Claim his 6th FNCS championship, and right now they're well on their way up the mountain. It's claiming so many players down below, forcing them into the first order base where there might not necessarily be an exit. Shadow, he goes down. At least he made inside of the top 8, but where does he land on that leaderboard?
Listen, I'm seeing a lot of placement points and not a lot of elims up top. Cold, Ritual, Peterbot still haven't been gifted. And what do you think about this? A 3v3, Clicks, Iamso, Higgs looking to get revenge here. They got taken out before. Can they stand through the power that Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot are laying down here? But no, they...
100?
Guys, we have to get kills.
Get it!
Jumping in.
Get up.
190.
There?
81, on me.
Smartest, the most calculated we've seen them play, but now is the time to crash out the build. Visuals goes down, but Higgs, Clicks, they're the ones who got both of those. Finally, Ritual is able to get one, and the dust has settled. They got their 4 eliminations. Now they just need to win out, and when the only healthy teams left in this game, minus Cold, of course.
Got a Minish here in the mid-ground. Clicks Iamso. Iamso going up for height, just kind of baiting here. But Cold is very, very weak. He's going to go and initiate things down below. Minish, kind of that mid-game factor here. That's a Siphon being rewarded. Cold's going to fall. Peterbot's hit. He has to see the side shot come through, and Iamso tags him once. Iamso's going to get the Siphon too. The jump shot. He's invisible. Peterbot can't be seen, can't be tracked.
Whoa. 120, 120.
I'm dead. It's a duo. He has pull. He has...
100.
Nice. He's gonna die. He doesn't have whites. He has no whites. Careful, P has no whites. Nice.
100.
I should run all the way back. Nice! Let's go!
Misses the Siphon. Iamso's still in the game, but Ritual stands and wins the game by a heal off in the end.
Peterbot cheated to win FNCS, but this is in no way meant to be a witch hunt on Peterbot or his trio. This video is simply meant to bring light to the cheating problem that Fortnite Competitive is dealing with. Whether it be people teaming to get their first earnings or professionals getting sent into retirement by stream sniping, not that those players didn't have their own cheating allegations of course. This video just showed a few of the ways players bend the rules for their own game, and how when the right person abuses this power, they can change the landscape of an an entire tournament. Make sure to like the video if you want to see more of my content, download Hone, and click the video on screen to watch more.